Dance with the millions.
It's that world heavyweight flow. Championship belt wrapped around my waist, yo. I got that Ric Flair figure flow. Slam you on the pavement, that's why they call me Street Pro. Create heat on beat flow. Like Jordan after the second time he three-peated, folks. Get ready, set, let's go. Fight toe to toe, release the flow created by this micro. Lights, camera, get low. Action packed, back to back. In fact, this monster will grow. Y'all better let him know. Man with the master plan, and you have no need to know. You came prepared, now get ready for the show.
Sports Professor. Oh, shit. Yo, 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 what up? What up? What up, friends? You know who it is. It's Omar, the Professor Fonseca, with the Professors. Semanalmente, which for you marks just means weekly. It is weekly, but I'm so glad that you join me weekly so we can share this time together on such a monumental day. So many things happening within the United States, and I've only got 30 minutes to cover it for you because we got a national championship football game happening tonight between the Ohio State Buckeyes versus the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It is going to be a doozy of a matchup, and I will get to my prediction at the end of the show. Again, this will be abbreviated 30-minute show today so we can get you right to that game. So let's go ahead and get started so we don't waste no more time. Let's kick this bad boy off. All right, first of all, man, oh man, what a day we had today, right? Especially if you're in the United States, right? Really big day. First of all, you got the presidential inauguration. Donald Trump was inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States of America. It was a cold inauguration, so they had to move it indoors. So, you know, hey, it was a little different than traditionally done. That's only been done one other time in presidential history. So, pretty crazy. And last time was 1985 with Ronald Reagan, just to let everybody know that was the last time. But they did have the inauguration after the peaceful transfer of power. You had people that were there, and we'll go through a bunch of other things that happened after it. But there were no issues. There were no January 6th violence or anything like that. It was a peaceful scene, even having all of the former presidents. But first, before we get into that and the rest of the stories that we dealt with today, it is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And I personally would love to wish all of you a happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day, as we celebrate the influence that he had on these great United States of America. Whether you think they're great or not, that can be debated. There's a lot of division, but we're still a great country, I believe. We may not be at our full potential, obviously, but we can get there. I truly do believe, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a second as well. But yeah, happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I love a lot of his quotes, so I wanted to go ahead and give you some of my quotes throughout the episode that I like of his. So let me first give a shout out to the artist here. This is made by Cynthia Post, the marketing and branding expert at Art Logo, and I wanted to shout her out because I found this picture online. I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. So I was like, let me go ahead and put her art up there and shout her out. I'm not going to go use these quotes. I picked other quotes, but she actually had a whole list on her Art Logo page that had all the quotes as well. So shout out to her, and thank you for making that easy for me to, go through and pick my favorites from. So one is, and this is going to apply to the whole episode today, but no one is truly free, y'all, until we are all free. And that holds pertinent in a day like today when we have our presidential inauguration and we switch from one party to another party, with one gaining complete power in all the chambers and branches of the government. But also, it extends further. It extends to many other things that are happening in our world. We'll talk in a little bit about the Israel-Hamas ceasefire and the Gaza Strip now being let for their citizens and people to come back into. We'll talk about all of that today, but that is one of a pertinent quote that I think we should always remember because when we're reminded that no one is free until we are all free, we then remember that we all have equal rights and that we were all brought here to better ourselves and better our community and help each other, brother to brother, sister to sister, so on and so forth. Another one I really like that I want to start out with is that darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So again, a really amazing quote that I love from Dr. King, and gives a good synopsis of the way that he feels about how life is, the way that he feels about how a future could be, especially in his famous, as we all know, "I Have a Dream" speech. So we all know that was, had a lot to do and told a lot about what he wanted to see accomplished in the future. And so, obviously we're not there yet. Clearly we've got a lot of division in the country. Again, going from one party to the other, having a lot of division, which Donald Trump is the President Donald Trump. He is talked about people in probably the most talked about person in the world, at least right now, and we're in a lot of times as well, and for good reason, because he makes the news and he says things that are newsworthy, and he is a newsworthy person, whether you like him or not. Now, what we can hope is that after the first term that he did, we saw people wanted him back, and so we hope and wish him the best of luck. Obviously, I don't want to see the country get any worse. I am not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. I am a centrist, a moderate. I do not ascribe to any political party. As the wise Francis Long would say, all of the politicians are liars, cheaters, and snakes, baby. Boo! And they all are. They're all out for themselves. They're all out to make their own money. They're all out to get their own laws in place, lobby their own things for their interest and for their community interest. So it's not like we don't know these things. Everyone knows that. But they are a necessary evil, because without politicians, then there is no rule of law. There are no things that actually get done within government. And at an advanced society that we're at in this time, we've got to be able to have a government that can rule those sorts of things or govern, those sorts of things like industries and taxes and finances, and whether you think you should or should not pay taxes. That's a whole nother rabbit hole we could go down to that we will not go into today. But maybe that gives me a topic for a future Mind of the Professor. But anyways, yeah. So I'll shoot out some of Dr. King's of my favorite quotes of his as we go through the episode. But let's continue on. I also want to say rest in power to Mr. Baseball Bob Uecker. You might remember him as the funny, hilarious announcer in Major League, one of the best baseball movies of all time, and actually a series of movies. The first one being the best, obviously, as most are wont to do. Usually the sequels, unless it's Godfather, right? You're not really talking about a sequel being better than the first movie. We all know that. Or Dad on Mr. Belvedere. If you never saw Mr. Belvedere, I used to watch that as a kid with my mom. Shout out my mom. I know she's probably watching anyways, but yes, he was a dad on Mr. Belvedere. He also called Brewers games on MLB Extra Innings. So rest in power, Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker, a.k.a. Harry Doyle. So far in the wildfires, prayers up. The death toll has raised to 27 as of this morning. Also, as of this morning, to update you, the Palisades fires are at a 50% containment, while the Eaton fires are at a 75% containment. So last week when we talked about this, they were at 15 and 25 respectively. So you can see that they've contained now 35% of the Palisades more and 50% of the Eaton more. So making obviously not the progress we would all hope for, as we would have hoped this would have been quelled already, but with high winds last week and the risk of extreme winds this week due to the polar vortex that is happening. And if you're in the DMV like I am, you know all about that because it's about 15 damn degrees outside. Ridiculous. Supposed to be like 5 tomorrow. This is why I don't go anywhere super cold. See, this is a Puerto Rican. We tropical. You know what I mean? I can only do so much cold. I can do cold, not that. It's freezing, and so again, prayers up to those people. Hopefully, they can get this. First of all, hopefully the winds don't happen as they expect, but also hopefully they can get this contained and over as soon as possible. Other things that freezing temperatures caused was again the moving of the inauguration inside. As I mentioned earlier, last time this was Ronald Reagan in. And this was in 1985. So Ronald Reagan in 1985, that's the last time that the weather caused an indoor move. And so everything went fine. There were no January 6th shenanigans. There was no violence. Everything was peaceful after the peaceful transfer of power. Donald Trump was sworn in as the 47th president, and his second time, as is what I was trying to say. And the only other president to serve non-consecutive terms after Grover Cleveland did it in 1885 to 1889 and 1893 to 1897. Former Ohio Senator J.D. Vance will become the third youngest vice president at 40 years old. So again, they're all 4 other living presidents were in attendance. Bill Clinton, George W., Barack Obama, and Joe Biden were all in attendance, and all were there in a show of solidarity of a brotherhood which only has a few members at a time, even if they may not support him. And that's very akin to 4 years ago. I know a lot of people on the right like to bash the Democrats for not showing up to things, and Kamala Harris didn't go to the Catholic prayer thing and all this other stuff. But we quickly forget that Donald Trump did not show up to Joe Biden's inauguration in 2020. All of them showed up for him today. No whining, no complaining, no name calling. They were professionals. And that is how it should be. So hopefully the next election, or hopefully the next time there is such a division within an election that was caused when Donald Trump showed up on the scene, not in total part to him, obviously, but it did start happening more and more at that time that he started coming in, and his followers felt more emboldened to say things that weren't really being said before. Now, whether you agree with them or not, that's another thing. That's not for this show. I am just reporting the news. Now, the other news of the day is that he was going to sign up to 200 executive actions on day one. Wow. They're saying it's the most comprehensive executive actions on the first day of a presidency in history, which obviously makes sense, right? So, but some of those, when you say 200, 48 of them had to do with sitting or senator races and other house races and things like that, signing people up for that. The other 12 had to do with his actual committee appointees that are being vetted right now through the Senate, and then a bunch of others that you probably don't need to hear of or aren't as important. But what I do want to give you is, and this is going to show you how broad and crazy, not crazy, I don't mean crazy, but I just mean crazy in size of how the list is of executive actions that were to be signed today. I am going to give you the 30 most important, and this is according to Fox News, I had a Fox News article and I took it to AI, so I'm being completely transparent with everybody. I popped the Fox News article in ChatGPT, told it to give me the executive actions from that article that were to be signed today. It popped me out the 30 that were inside the article and also gave me some quotes. I'm not going to say any of the quotes, but I am going to read through all 30 executive actions. Someone time me. Let's go. Border security, end catch and release, reinstitute remain in Mexico, declare a national border emergency, direct the U.S. military to work with Department of Homeland Security to secure the southern border, establish a national priority to eliminate all criminal cartels on U.S. soil, suspend the entry of illegal aliens across the southwest border, and swiftly return apprehended individuals to their country of region, direct the construction of new sections of border wall, designate criminal cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, create task force for cartel eradication with FBI, ICE, CEA, and other agencies. On energy policies, number 10, pause all offshore wind leases, terminate the electric vehicle mandate, abolish the Green New Deal, withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord, fully unleash Alaskan energy, including fracking, pipelines, ports, liquid natural gas policy, reverse President Biden's energy policies constraining U.S. energy supply, on federal bureaucracy, excuse me, trying to go so fast because there's so many. 16, strengthen presidential control over senior government officials, reform the federal bureaucracy to allow for the removal of workers failing to comply with executive directives, implement a new merit-based hiring review system, return federal workers to in-person work, establish a Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, hiring freeze. By the way, Vivek Ramaswamy stepped down from DOGE today as he's trying to run for elected office, so it is fully under the control of Elon Musk. You heard it here first. Shout out my boy Hot Take Jake. On DEI and social policies, number 21, end all diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, aka DEI, aka minorities and black and brown people. Programs across the federal government. Number 22, establish biological sex definitions. Number 23, rename places like the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. On federal oversight and efficiency, suspend security clearances for officials who lied about Hunter Biden's laptop. Gain control over foreign aid and NGO funding. Reduce costs for American families by removing federal actions that increase living expenses. On censorship and free speech, end weaponization of the federal government and restore freedom of speech and end federal censorship. And finally, number 30, on TikTok and technology, sign an executive order to extend the period of TikTok prohibitions to allow for national security negotiations, but to uplift the ban, which was done this weekend, which we're about to talk about now, the TikTok ban. Why? Because I'm awesome at things like segues. And I'm going to take a bow. I don't know who's watching, but that was awesome. That had to be great. I just gave you the top 30 executive actions in what had to be less than 2 minutes. Someone give me a round of applause. I need a like. I need a heart. I need something, or I'm not even going to go on until I get at least one like. I can't do it because that was just too good to not be appreciated. Someone help me out. Someone help me out. I also needed a drink of water. Someone help me out now. Damn, not one of y'all gonna give me a like? I see a bunch of y'all on here. Can't one of y'all hit that like button? Jeez. Free. Don't hurt you. Anyway. Oh, there we go. Finally, thank you for the help, whoever you are, kind soul. If you didn't negotiate for more money after getting a job, don't feel bad. Because you're just like the President of the United States. They receive an annual salary. Donald Trump will earn $400,000. But I thought this was pretty crazy. If you go back into the history of presidential salaries, George Washington, when he took office in 1789, received a $25,000 salary. Now, what would that be adjusted for today's money? $896,000. So almost $900,000 George Washington would have made in the equivalent of that money back then, which again was $25,000. After him, every president from 1873 to 2000 was making an adjusted $1.3 million to $2.6 million. So if you were any of the presidents from before Grover, before Grover Cleveland that we talked about earlier, all the way up to George W. Knock down the towers, then you would have made between 1.3 and 2.6 million dollars. Money. Woo! That's some moolah. Do I agree and think they should get paid that much? Not at all. But they do have a hard job. I don't think they should be millionaires, but they do have a hard job. So we'll leave it at that. Anyways, all right, let's keep it moving on. One more story about Trump before we move on to world news. He actually hosted the crypto ball, and if you did not see, he also entered the office of presidency as the first meme coin billionaire. What's a meme coin? It's like Dogecoin or when they had the GameStop coin, things like that, the Shiba Inu. They're coins that are attached to memes, but a lot of them are not attached to blockchain features that will keep them secure enough for you to want to invest your money. Most of these times, these are not investments. These are just things that you buy because you're interested in them and you're not planning on getting a return. Well, if Trump ain't nothing else, he's a businessman. He always has been since the day he was born and came out of his mama's womb. He's been a businessman. He is the president now, but he's always been a businessman. And last night, before he went into the presidency, he launched the Trump meme coin, Saturday, which immediately reached $5.5 billion. Let me repeat that. He launched a meme coin, and overnight on Saturday to Sunday, it went up to $5.5 billion. That means that $5.5 billion of this meme coin were purchased. That then more than 10 times that was what it turned out to be when it was finally all said and done, up to $55 million. Following that, Melania Trump launches her own meme coin called Melania, and that quickly gained $5 billion in market share, which then caused Trump's memes coin to fall 35%, which to me is hilarious. But still, obviously, Trump's was worth more. Now, both projects are backed by the Solana blockchain. So as I mentioned earlier, most meme coins are not real, but this is powered by the Solana blockchain. So there could be some security features that would allow you to at least feel secure and possibly making some sort of return. But just always be aware, not just this. I don't think anyone should invest in any meme coins. If you do Bitcoin or Ethereum, which are actually backed by security features within the blockchain, then maybe so. But other than that, you're just doing something really risky, and it's probably not worth it. You're probably just making some people a lot of money, like the Haktua girl, who launched a meme coin. A bunch of dumb, stupid idiots bought it, and then she rug pulled the meme coin, and all their money was gone. And now they took her to court. And we're going to talk about this on the next Banter, Brawls, and Bravado. So look out for that in the next couple weeks. I'm coming up with that. We're going to talk about the Haktua girl rug pulling some fools with her meme coin. All right. Well, that brings me to another Martin Luther King quote. We must live together as brothers or perish together as fools. Moving on to world news. In world news, 3 Israeli women who were held hostage by Hamas were released yesterday after 470 days in captivity. This is with the long-awaited ceasefire that ends over a year of conflict and war. And let's be honest, this goes back decades and centuries and lifetimes and millennials and since hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So you can also go down a huge rabbit hole on that if you want to go on the background on this conflict, you can go all the way back to the European age and all that. It gets pretty wild. Anyways, we don't have enough time. 90 Palestinians were who were imprisoned in Israel were released as well. So this is a temporary truce, hoping for a potential path to ending the war in 15 months. There will be a 42-day pause in fighting. Israeli forces have already started a withdrawal in some of the more dense areas that more people lived in, which people started to go back to. But as you can see on the pictures there that I'm showing, a lot of people return to destruction and to poverty and to nothing, houses and everything demolished. And it's sad for people that are innocent and had nothing to do with this, that a terrorist organization could cause them to lose their homes, and that a ally of ours that is fighting that terrorist cell could also be implicit in that, whether they're allies or not. Too many times did stories come out about Israel bombing civilian areas, and too many times has it happened before this time, and a lot of times it was just shrugged off, and that just is not a good look on, obviously, optic on that, right? So anyways, we'll see if this actually happens. As we know, I just talked about, this has gone for decades, upon hundreds of years, upon millennials, upon lifetimes, and there's always a ceasefire, always peace for a time, and then it starts up again. Obviously, we pray that does not happen, because obviously that's horrible to see what the outcomes of war are, but usually that's what happens. Another Martin Luther King quote that brings me to, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving forward. And we will keep moving forward on this show. The World Economic Forum has begun in Davos. Yes, this is the billionaire conference where they talk about all the crazy new inventions and things that they want to get done in the world. Some people call it the Illuminati and all that. Collaboration in the intelligent age is going to be the focus on technologies and strengthening social and economic resilience, which brings me to another Martin Luther King quote. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. You can't stay silent when things matter to you. You must speak up against them, whether it is war, whether it is oppression, whether it is injustice, whether it is inequality. We must stand up to these things. Another quote, and injustice anywhere is, injustice anywhere is not, damn, I don't have it in front of me and I can't get it right. Is justice everywhere. So, you know, it's sad, some of the things that we have in this world with the wars and everything, but that's gone on for, again, since the beginning of time. And that's a lot of times the ways that things are solved, unfortunately. Moving on to entertainment. Obviously, this weekend, TikTok went out. Y'all heard it. It went dark. You were not able to You were able to access it, but you weren't able to download it from the App Store. President-elect Donald Trump is obviously, or president now, after today, is, I've been saying that for so long, is actually going to put a 90-day hold on this. We're looking to get American buyers. Kevin O'Leary was in talk last week with Donald Trump. Elon Musk is now on the forefront talking to Trump about possibly buying TikTok. So look out for that. By the way, Instagram introduced today the edits feature, which is going to be akin to what TikTok's CapCut was. So if you're like Clever D the Combat G and use CapCut for your videos, if TikTok does go away, Instagram is fully releasing this week edits, which is going to be their CapCut that TikTok had. So we will see what happens there. Brings me to the our sports section of the show, our sports section. Let me get that right, because I had that way off there for a second. To our sports section of the show before we get you out of here to the big game. The MLB Hall of Fame will be announced tomorrow. Ichiro Suzuki is looking to become the first ever position player to get 100% of the writers' votes. It's only been done one other time by one other player, reliever Mariano Rivera from the New York Yankees. Don't ask me how. It was never given to Willie Mays or even Babe Ruth or Ken Griffey Jr. or so many other players who deserved it. Roberto Clemente. Come on now. It blows my mind. I'm going to talk about this on the Mind of the Professor next one, which I'll be having either later this week or next week as well. Come on, man. If Ichiro doesn't get it, it's a sad that a lot of people. Derek Jeter. I hate the Yankees with a passion. I very much dislike Derek Jeter, but the fact that he didn't get unanimous either, that's pretty wild to me. That doesn't make sense. So we'll see what happens. That will be announced tomorrow. Also, next week we have our conference championships after a weekend of great football. Make sure you check out my predictions and the rest of the Bottom Line Sports crew tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you are subscribed at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS, or if you've joined the Bottom Line Sports Facebook group, you will be able to catch us here giving our predictions tomorrow night. That being said, this is what it looks like, so I just wanted to bring that up and show y'all what it looked like. Kansas City will be going to play the Bills. They've obviously played a few times now over the past 4 or 5 years in the playoffs. That's going to be a shootout, a barn burner, as they say. On the NFC side, you got the good old divisional rivalry. The Philadelphia Eagles will be hosting where I'm at. Shout out to the DMV. They're going crazy over their Commanders. And with the quarterback they have, shout out to my NFL insider at Ball and Buds, Shane Peacher, who has, just really hype about Jaden Daniels. The whole city is. He's telling me how much they think of him. And how much better they think of him of all the other young quarterbacks in the league, including Caleb Williams from same draft class, including C.J. Stroud from the draft class before. These are things coming out of Commanders headquarters. So we'll look to see what happens here, but it was a great weekend. A lot of great players. Shout out to who should be the MVP of the league, Saquon Barkley. I've been shouting this since the beginning of the season. Flo joined me later in the season. He's now all aboard. Saquon Barkley, 205 yards, 2 touchdown runs of 78 and 62. This is after 2,000 yards during the regular season. Give him the MVP. Don't give it to Lamar Jackson, who's already had it twice. Don't give it to Josh Allen, who had lesser stats than Lamar. Give it to Saquon, who has pretty much carried this team because they have had a down year passing offensively. Give it to that man. Shout out Saquon. I'm caping for you, brother. Let's go. Tonight, let's get you to it. Yes, tonight, coming on right now, the national championship game. We have the number 7 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish versus the number 8 the Ohio State Buckeyes. I don't want to get any messages. Usually, whenever I forget the in Ohio State, your Ohio State fans will start to hit you up. And they are very upset if you do not give them the Ohio State. So I make sure to, acquiesce to their wants and their needs. So the Ohio State versus the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. All right. So a couple storylines here. Ryan Day almost fired 30 days ago because he couldn't beat Michigan and barely made it into the playoffs. Barely. If it was real seeding, he would have made it earlier. But the Michigan loss was a bad loss. So they wanted to fire him, but now he's in the national championship. On the other side, Marcus Freeman making history as the first Black or Asian head coach of a Division I school to take his football team to the national championship. And on Martin Luther King Day, that is very, very pertinent. That's very important. So, shout out to him. Shout out to Notre Dame. Came back from an ugly loss to Northern Illinois to win 13 in a row. But they are going up against the buzzsaw that is the Ohio State University. At the beginning of the season, I predicted that they would win the national championship, just like I did last year for the Michigan Wolverines. And I am not going to go away from what should be a second consecutive yearly correct pick. Booyah, boy! That's why they call me the sports professor. Might as well give me that Biff Sports Almanac. Let me call my brother Clubber D, because apparently he out there calling pick sixes for touchdowns before they happen. Oh man, that was good. All right, anyways, let me give you my prediction so I can get you out of here. I know it's about to start right now. Probably already starting. You got a little bit of national anthem. I don't know. My phone is over there. But anyways, all right. So tonight, again, going to be a really good game, but Ohio State is favored in this game. It was 9.5 last time I checked. Maybe it could have moved up or down with the betting, so it could be 8.5, something like that. Late entries, late money on the underdogs will usually do that. So I am going to give my score of 31-21, Ohio State over the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The Ohio State Buckeyes will be your national champion. Awesome. Thank you again. A little abbreviated show this weekend. Thank you to everybody that tuned in. Shout out to everybody out there. No worries, Amul. I hope you feel better. My brother, I do want to get you on, though. Possibly next week. We'll talk about it. Talk about the first week of Trump's presidency and some of those executive actions that he enacted in his first week. So I think it's actually better that you probably come on next week. We will do that. All right. Let me leave you with 2 more Martin Luther King Jr. quotes that I really love. The first is, the ultimate measure of a man or woman, that's fine, is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. And with so much challenge and controversy in the world today, and even here in the United States, where do you stand in those moments of comfort and convenience? Will you do the right thing? Will you stand for injustice? Will you stand for inequality? Will you stand for your fellow brother and sister? I will for you, and I hope you will for me. Make sure you subscribe to Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. I am Omar, the Professor Fonseca. This is the Professor's Semanalmente. And one more Martin Luther King Jr. quote: only in the darkness can you see the stars. And y'all, you are all stars. You are all superstars. And I love y'all for tuning in. I thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure, again, you subscribe to Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. Tomorrow night, the Bottom Line Sports, 8 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you tune in for what should be an amazing, awesome, explosive episode. That being said, as always, make sure you go out, you be kind to each other, love each other, give a helping hand to your fellow man, be good and understand, leaving you with a free. Okay, no, I'm not going to do a freestyle. I could. You know I could. Most of you out there know I really could drop a bomb right now. But I ain't going to do that because the national championship game is on. So I'm just going to say, holla, 5,000.
He's with the millions.
It's that world heavyweight float. Championship belt wrapped around my waist, yo. I got that Ric Flair figure float. Slam you on the pavement, that's why they call me Street Pro. Create heat on beat close. Like Jordan after the second time he three-peated, folks. Get ready, set, let's go. Fight toe to toe, release the flow created by this mic pro. Lights, camera, get low. Action packed, back to back. In fact, this monster will grow. Y'all better let him know. Man with the master plan, and you have no need to know. You came prepared, now get ready for the show.
Sports Professor.